There is nothing stopping you from becoming a millionaire in a reasonably short amount of time. And no, I'm not just talking to the high earners. In fact, they typically live paycheck to paycheck just like anyone else that neglects the basics of personal finance. In this video, we'll discuss the most important aspect of building long-term wealth regardless of your income level. It's time to break those spreadsheets. This isn't going to be your run-of-the-mill, save and invest $5 a day for 40 years and you'll become a millionaire. Now, that's always part of the equation, but we're going to discuss how to build serious wealth in a much shorter time frame. And I pretty much guarantee you'll be shocked by some of these numbers, regardless of your mathematical prowess. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Jeff Teeples, and here we aim to grow your wealth with simple, time-tested solutions. If you enjoy videos like this, please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And drop me a comment below with any ideas or questions that come up as you watch this video. I love hearing from this community. Let's grow. Let's play a game. I was once asked the following question in my statistics class. Would you rather have $1 million of cash right now or receive 1 penny that will double for each of the next 30 days? For the record, I took the doubling penny because it was a really strange question and I figured there had to be a point to all this. But let's jump over to a spreadsheet and see which one was the better choice. Okay, so here is option 1, that's the $1 million cash. And option 2 is we receive that penny and it begins to double. So I put in the first 10 days of the penny doubling and we ended up with $10.24 after day 10. This is not looking promising. I might have made a huge mistake. Let's add in days 11 through 20. It starts to get up there a little bit. It's looking a little more promising at 10,000, but I'm still thinking at this point, maybe we should have gone with that million. When we add in the last 10 days of compound, you go from day 21 at 20,000, keep on doubling day by day. After 30 days, we have a cool $10.7 million. So I hope you took that penny. I had 3 realizations after reviewing the results of this question. The first is that it still seemed ridiculous even after the fact, and I borderline don't believe it even after seeing the proof. The second thing I learned was that compound interest and the rule of 72 are very powerful. And third, that old accounting saying of $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow is grossly underemphasized. Now, the way to build massive wealth does start with the boring stuff. You got to set up the portfolio, dollar cost average in, get that all set up, and then wait for compound to do its thing over time. The whole thing reminds me of building a fire. You get the basic foundation set up, the fire starts, and it slowly warms up the area. But we're not going to sit around this fire for 40 years here as we slowly warm up. We're going to stoke the crap out of this thing and get it burning hot now. Let's get going. The rule of 72. The rule of 72 is great to know for any long-term investor. This one specifically helps me keep pumping money into my portfolio instead of wasting it on things that I don't need. The rule tells you how long it takes for your investment to double in value from the time that you put it into your portfolio. You simply take the number 72 divided by your expected rate of annual returns in your portfolio. The result is how many years it will take your investment to double in value. I like to use the rate of return of the market or the S&P 500 for my base case and things. And again, it could be better in reality and it could be worse in reality. A lot of stuff can happen. But over the last 100 years, the total returns of the S&P 500 is a touch above 10%. When you take 72 divided by 10, you come up with the result of about 7 years to double your money. So if you invest $100 today, in 7 years, you'll have $200. And then in 7 more years, 14 years from the beginning, you'll have $400. In 7 more years, you'll have $800 and so on and so forth. My shortcut math when making everyday decisions is that I 8x my money every 20 years. And this helps me make everyday life decisions. For example, when I get the urge to buy that brand new shiny car for 40 grand, is that car worth $320,000 of portfolio value in 20 years from now? That thought usually nudges me towards other options. Establish your base system. The first step to building wealth is to set up a system that invests your money into the market without action. A common example of this is contributing to your work's 401k plan. After you get it set up, every paycheck you're investing into that 401k without taking any action at all. And 401ks, as I said in other videos, are particularly good because the money goes in on a pre-tax basis. So when you put $200 per paycheck in, it might only actually take around $150 out of your net paycheck. And in addition to that, usually companies will match the first X amount of your contributions, so that's more free money that you should never pass up. You'll want to take full advantage of whatever your company's matching policy is, because it's absolutely free money that will compound over time once it's invested in your portfolio. Funding a Roth IRA is another great idea, and these are really easy to set up at any online broker. You can make it to where every time you get paid from your job, it'll automatically transfer a little bit of that from your checking account to your Roth IRA and get it into your invested portfolio. Or you could do it once a month, whatever makes sense for your situation. I would recommend investing at least $500 a month, including company matches. It may seem like a lot right now for your current situation, but you'll be shocked how easy it becomes when you set up your system to do it by default and then you lifestyle around it. We have a knack for automatically spending what's left. So make it a bill, forget about it, and you'll adjust from there. Let's look at a base case of what happens when you invest $500 per month once you get that set up. Don't worry, we'll get to the part where you get rich way faster than this in the following section. All right, we're gonna be starting with $0 to our name. We've just set up our system and we're investing that $500 per month. As you look here, I've condensed this down to show every 5 years. After 5 years, with the growth rate of 10%, that of the S&P 500 over the last 100 or so years, you end with $39,000. After 10 years, you start to compound up a little bit here at 100 grand. Then you get to 207 after 15 years. And after 20 years of putting $500 a month in, you're almost at 400K. Then you cross well over $500,000 after 25, and it looks like you hit, let's drop this down here, you hit a cool $1 million after 29 years of investing $500 a month, starting at zero and assuming a 10% total return. So that doesn't account for inflation, that includes reinvesting dividends. So 29 years is a long time to get to where we want to get, but this is our default system that automatically happens in the background. There's more to come. Congratulations, you now have a base case that will make you a millionaire in 29 years. And that's without doing anything extra. But that's not a lot of fun and it's way too long to wait, so let's get into the good stuff. $1 today is so much more. That penny turned into over $10 million after doubling 30 times. But remember how long it took it to ramp up in the beginning. If you started with just $1 instead, you would have over $1 billion at the end of the 30 days. Now, don't get me wrong, this example is a bit extreme because we're assuming 100% growth each and every day, but the logic works the same way in your portfolio. Any contributions that you make over the years, outside of that default automated system that we got set up in the last section, can be treated separately from your core portfolio projections. Your portfolio, much like the doubling penny, will explode in value when you don't buy that new car, or when you don't eat out for lunch every day, or when you waste money on a million other optional life choices. Each one of these decisions made will add directly to your final balance of your portfolio. And the earlier that they're made in life, the crazier the math gets. You genuinely will not believe this. Let's take a look at a few examples. All right, we're back out on our base scenario here. This is where we're putting in our 500 bucks, and we get to $1 million after 29 years. Just to clean this up a little bit, I'm gonna shift some things around on us here just to collapse these years. We're just gonna go by 5-year increments to see how some of these changes will add up. So what I'm going to do here is this 1.1 million is going to be taking place in the background. Let's put it down here, okay? So this is the 1.1 million you have from your base case scenario right here. And we're gonna remove this. So now we're going to look at additions to add to your default investing. Let's start with a big one. This is one I've personally done, and that's not buying brand new cars over the years. So the first time I bought my 99 Honda Civic used for 11,000, the new cars of that era weren't quite as much as they are now. They were about 30 grand for a new car that was similarly featured. We're not gonna account for financing and everything, but just looking at a $20,000 difference, let's just say 15. So if anything, we're gonna understate it. I saved 15 grand by buying a used car instead of a new one. And I did that right at the beginning of my journey. So if you do something like that, that 15 grand can go into the market and grow at 10% instead of technically being financed and paying even extra. But let's just look at it in a vacuum at the 15K for what it is. So that 15,000 at your 10% growth will become nearly $300,000 after that 30 years. And again, this is in addition to your base case. So just making that decision on your car added 300K to your portfolio. We'll get a tally going. You know, you can insert so many things for this scenario right here, but right now we're at almost $1.5 million. Now let's talk about saving 10 bucks a day, not eating out at lunch every day at work. So let's reset the board here. We're saving 10 bucks a day times 5 work days a week times 52 weeks a year divided by 12. You're saving $217 a month by not eating out. And eating out might be 15, 20 bucks, but you know, it's not gonna be free to eat from home. So $10 is a pretty conservative assumption. As you can see, that grows to almost $500,000 after 30 years. So you take something like that and you put it down here to your total, we're almost up to 2 million. And again, if anything, these are under exaggerated, the numbers I'm using. And then just for fun, we're gonna throw in a $5 coffee every weekday, 5 weekdays times 52 weeks a year. We won't even ding you for the weekends that you probably do a little more, divided by 12. So that puts in another 108 bucks a month. So that coffee after 30 years is 244,000. Now guys, we're at 2.2 million. And if you're thinking that this is BS, it's really not. Like I said, these are very conservative estimates I'm throwing in. Think about all the extra money you really could invest if you ratcheted down your budgeting a little bit, still enjoyed what you liked, but save money around the edges of all these wants and purchases just because it's like, well, I get paid next week anyway. I can get it close to zero and then boom, there's more money to work with. If you just start putting this into your portfolio, this is exactly what I did. I'm not a rocket scientist and I didn't do anything special. Trust me, you're still living a little when you make these little sacrifices. You can waste a lot of money and still accumulate some nice wealth. This is just a few examples, you know. I've done that on my next car as well. Add another 20K, put it in the hopper, and you just keep adding up. And all of a sudden, when you wake up with 5 or 10 million someday when you're 60, it's not because you're some rich snob. It's just because you did a whole bunch of little things over the years that added up more than you could imagine. And let's say you invest $2,500 a month. You can save enough with your budgeting and not lifestyling up over the years with salary increases and bonuses to get there. Without adding up all these onesie twosies, you just got yourself to 5.6 million in 30 years. Really do it though. This stuff seems really cool in theory, but you actually have to do it. I mean, literally, you guys, if you don't eat out for lunch at work and you start making better decisions and you have $72 in your checking account that you normally don't have, send that $72 to your portfolio to be invested instead of spending that $72 naturally as you wait for the next paycheck. And if you haven't picked it up, I'm speaking from experience here. I get the whole paycheck to paycheck thing, and it doesn't have to be that way, but it takes action to fix it. Remember, this is coming from a guy that got his first real career job, $47,000 a year, at the age of 28. So I had 28 years of elite experience of poor decision making that I can share with you. I'm 41 years old now. I'm debt-free, and my portfolio recently passed $1 million. And to be fair, my wife was a major contributor to this as we both had solid jobs the last 13 years, but we never received a windfall of money of any sort. It's one decision at a time, and much like the penny trick, these decisions will add up weirdly fast. If you're new to investing and you don't know exactly where to start, I would highly recommend opening up an account in M1 Finance. It's a really simple platform to use. You'll basically set up what they call a pie, and you'll make your allocations. It's a one-time start in the beginning. So you'll say, you know, send 50% of my money to an S&P 500 ETF, VOO, send 25% of my money to SCHD, the dividend ETF, and 25% of my money to VGT, a growth ETF. So once you create your 100% pie, it'll do the rest for you. You'll send money over to M1 Finance and it'll automatically stick it in the pies to buy whatever is underweight within your allocations. It's as easy as Venmoing a friend money. I do personally use M1 Finance, and I have a referral link in the description below. It's absolutely free for you to use, and it'll hook you up with free money when you open an account, and it'll also give me a kickback as well, if you're interested. But wherever you end up investing your money, you just have to do it. Start small, one decision at a time, and eventually you'll be saving thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars long term by not rolling off the lot with that new hot rod. And if hot rods really are your thing, you'll be able to buy 8 of those things sooner than you think. Check out one of these 2 videos right here if you want some ideas on how to invest this newly found cash to create generational wealth. Thank you for watching, and I will see you here each and every Thursday, and normally on a Sunday. Peace.